I don't know that I can even say all of that to them. I probably can just say no, or
I think you could say no. The only other thing I can think of is you could direct them back to the part of the jury instruction that says, based on your everyday experiences, you know, that one line, I can't remember where that's at, but I think you know what I'm referring to.
Is there a legal definition for the term agreement?
agreement.
Court's back in session.
So for the record, the jury had a question. Their question is there a legal definition to the term agreement relating to section 1, page 5? Agreement is in quotation marks. So I don't think there is a legal definition to the term agreement.
Don't either. I remember struck it as answering a question before with a jury saying that when a word doesn't have a legal definition, as applied here, to go with the common, usage. But beyond that, I don't think anybody can comment more than that.
Right. Or I can say, no, there is no legal definition, which leaves them with their common knowledge about the word.
I would just suggest to say common, like you said, there is no legal definition, and when there's not, common meaning of the word. But how do you like?
Mr. Evans?
I think based on kind of thinking about it for a minute, I think you can only, I would suggest just saying there's no legal definition. I don't have a problem with saying.
If that's what Mr. Evans is asking for, that's fine.
With saying something to the term of, everyday usage, or what I was referring to is consider all the evidence in light of your own observations and experiences in life, but that's not really specific to defining a term, so that may not be helpful to them, but I think either way it's phrased, it would be fine.
There is not a legal definition for the term agreement. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think the less the better here.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Adjourn court.
Ready, Your Honor?
Yes.
The jury's now entering into the courtroom.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Four person? If you would stand and read your verdict, please.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in count 2 of the indictment. And we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of convicted felon in possession of a firearm as charged in count 3 of the indictment.
Thank you. Juror number 1, is that your verdict? Juror number 34, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 35, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 17, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 27, is that your verdict?
It is, Your Honor.
Juror number 33, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 25, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 44, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 23, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Juror number 28, is that your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for your time and attention to this matter this week. Our system of self-government would not work without your service and sacrifice that you've made. Thanks again for your time and attention. You are excused.
Jurors excused.
Mr. Johnson, the jury having found you guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and convicted felon in possession of a firearm. As the 13th juror, I affirm this verdict. As to the first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. I will set punishment as to the conspiracy and the convicted felon in possession of a firearm after a sentencing hearing. The date for that hearing will be November 1st?
Yes, Your Honor.
November 1st. There's nothing else to take up?
We will prepare the judgment sheet and pass that forward, Judge.
Thank you. And the pre-sentence report. The order for the pre-sentence report.
Sir, once we get that, we'll get those to you.
Thank you. You may adjourn court.
All rise.
Stand up.
This honorable court stands adjourned to Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Justin Johnson found guilty. Life in prison. Justin Johnson found. Oh, fuck. Yeah, so what y'all think of that, squad? I mean, the evidence was rather damaging. And you know, the jury probably scared after being abreast of this other trial that's been going on almost a year now. But the evidence they had on my man, the footage, then they had the telephone records. Had all this telephone records. So with that being said, I think that's rather damaging. It's a little hard to deny that
Yeah, less than 4 hours. Let me tell you, because they had some
He
time to get
wasn't the
some lunch,
person that
and then over lunch they began
pulled that
deliberating.
trigger.
Over lunch, the judge gave them that opportunity
You
to
know,
do that, and you hear just less
it's
than 5 minutes
sad.
ago the guilty verdict, finding
Hold on, let's see what they
Justin Trey
talking about here,
Johnson
y'all.
guilty on all counts: conspiracy to first-degree murder, as well as convicted felon in possession of a gun. Now, this again coming less than 4 hours after this verdict. After this jury began deliberation, and let me tell you, it's been a very emotional week, not only for the family of Young Dolph, but especially the city of Memphis, because everyone loved Young Dolph for his music, for his contributions to the community. But this right here coming again after 4 emotional days, especially with all the information that we learned coming out of this trial, knowing who actually happened to be behind it, and then the surprise of not seeing Hernandez Govan take the stand. A lot of emotion, a lot of surprises all throughout this week. Now, we did speak to Shelby County District Attorney Steve Morroy, who really didn't want to go into details as to
why we didn't see Hernandez Govan take the stand, and as well as other people involved in this case that happened to be named. Needless to say, Anthony Big Jook Mims, understanding why they didn't get an indictment over his case or his involvement in this case. Now, for sure, we're waiting right now for people to start making their way out of the courtroom. We already have seen the family of Young Dolph make their way out of the courtroom. We possibly very well may hear from them as to their emotion behind this guilty verdict. Justice finally coming to them nearly 3 years after the shooting death of Young Dolph on airways in front of Makedas. Definitely a lot of information that have come out, a lot of information that we've heard in the past, but now this week it's confirmed. Daryl. Well, starting off with the defense, with their closing argument, they came in hot, needless to say. But Paul Hagerman then took over, and he shut every doubt for the jury, shut it down, because for the simple fact of, you have every piece of evidence that the prosecution pointed out, the surveillance video. That was in the opening statement. And then as the trial progressed, you saw the digital forensics that pointed straight to Justin Johnson as well as Cornelius Smith. We're talking about phone calls that have been made 24 minutes before who we later found out. Anthony Big Jook Mims, that all pinpointed out with digital forensics from MPD. Yeah, and let me tell you, speaking with Steve Morroy, the Shelby County District Attorney, he said their case was very strong without his testimony. For the simple fact that, look, they had all of the evidence. They didn't need another voice on that stand. That voice right there, I really think the defense was pending on that voice of Hernandez Govan, because if you go back to that closing argument, they were hoping, it sounds as though they were hoping Hernandez Govan took the stand because there was no clear point to connect Hernandez-Govan to Justin Johnson. We even asked Steve Morroy about that connection between Hernandez-Govan and Justin Johnson. Yeah, and let me tell you, that was one shaking that arm. And I believe right now we're about to hear from Shelby County District Attorney Steve Morroy. Here he is.
Other side, yes.
You tell me when you're ready. Great. All right. Well, so we are obviously gratified by the jury's decision. We are very gratified that justice has been done in this case, and we will continue to make sure that all of those who are responsible for Young Dolph's death receive the punishment they deserve. And I want to give a hearty congratulations to the trial team, not only Paul Hagman and Iris Williams, but everybody involved who really worked very hard on this case and got a great result and did a great job. So congratulations to them, and I'd sure like to have them speak to you as well.
I think it's been a long, hard week for everybody. It's been a long, hard week for Dolph's family too. They're back behind us. It's been a process getting here, a couple of years now, and great result this week. A lot of hard work went into it. A lot of love from their family went into it, and appreciate the jury verdict. And we did it.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people, we've been posing this question to Mr. D.A. Morroy for all week. Hernandez-Govan, the importance of having him involved obviously wasn't important. Can you speak on that?
I mean, you saw the proof at the trial, and obviously we heard other names about people's involvement. There's two defendants, there's Mr. Smith and Mr. Govan, whose cases are not disposed of yet. We have to proceed one at a time. Mr. Johnson first, and that business finishes today, and we'll move on to the other defendants.
And when you heard the defense in their closing argument basically point out that DNA on that car, how did you all attack that? Because obviously it was three people's DNAs that was found on that car, but Justin Johnson's wasn't.
Yeah, so you got the facts you got the evidence you got. We heard testimony that the car had been wiped down and cleaned, and we know it was moved and everything else, and we were able to explain to the jury why those three individuals' fingerprints were in that car. And so the jury heard all the proof and they understood it, and I think we painted a real clear picture of both before, during, and after the murder. The investigation did a fabulous job of highlighting sort of all three of those times and answering a lot of questions that a lot of murder cases you never get answered. We had a strong case, and it went good.
And I'd like to add also, I should also be complimenting the law enforcement investigative team. They did an excellent job in this case, and I don't want to leave them out. You don't always get fingerprint evidence. You don't always get DNA evidence in every case, and it is certainly possible to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt with any of that, and the proof in the pudding is what happened today.
Now, we haven't heard from the family, understandably so.
Highlight how corroborating
Hold up, squad. Let me get you some visuals real quick.
important aspects of your the fact that witness testimony lined up with corroborating evidence.
Well, it's just so important. I mean, I think that sometimes when you try, particularly violent cases like this, sometimes your witnesses are not the best characters. I think, like I told the jury, there's There's many witnesses over the cases, I've tried through the years. I wouldn't trust them with my car keys or whatever else. But when you can point to other evidence that corroborates their testimony and their account proves to you that what they're saying, despite who they are, is true, then that's incredibly important to try.
It's been a long time coming for, obviously, the family of Young Dolph and fans as well. I guess, what would you say, to them now that there's a guilty verdict?
Well, I mean, what I would say is that justice has been done, at least so far, and our efforts will continue to make sure that everybody who's responsible for Young Dolph's death is held accountable. And you've seen us do that so far with two defendants, one by guilty plea and one by guilty verdict, and our work will continue. Take maybe one more question.
What's next? What's next for Cornelius Smith?
Mr. Smith's case will be reset until November. Like I told the jury, like I told the court, there'll be a point where he goes to prison, but we'll have to wait.
So thank you all very much. And the family has said that they are available to talk to you, and so I certainly encourage you to do that. Thank you all very much.
Oh. I'm stepping in. Here they go.
No, I did better than my spokesperson.
On November 17, 2021, our lives changed forever. A son, a father, a brother, a friend, a businessman, a music artist, a philanthropist, and life partner are all among just some of the titles that my brother Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. held. Titles that have now left a missing piece in the lives of so many. I want to say thank you to the jury for their service and decision in this case to bring us one step closer to justice for our family, friends, supporters, and the community that has supported us during this time. Thank you to Judge Mitchell, Shelby County District Attorney's Office, including Paul Hangerman and his team, the MPD, U.S. Marshals, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and other investigators and staff that assisted us with this investigation and case, ensuring that those responsible for this crime and involved with this crime have and will be brought to justice for their actions. We realize this act of violence has impacted so many outside of our family and friends. Your outpouring of love and support throughout this process does not go unnoticed. We ask that instead of focusing on those who committed this crime, you focus on the man that Adolph Robert Thornton was. Regardless of the name that you may know him as, such as Adolph, Dolph, or Young Dolph, we ask you to remember the man who enjoyed being a father and spending time with his family. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving opportunities to those who were often overlooked and counted out. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving back to others and being an inspiration to those who come from less than ideal backgrounds, and knowing that they are seen and can change their outcomes and the lives of others by doing something positive. We will continue to heal and keep Adolph's legacy alive We ask that the public and the media continue to keep our family in their prayers, as well as continue to respect our privacy during this time and the next steps of the judicial process as justice is served for all those involved for our loved ones. Thank you.
There was Carlisa Thornton, girl sister, she didn't say what her name was. The correct spelling of her name is Carlisa. Lisa. Thornton.
Rest in peace, Young Dolph.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it younger sister?
Just sister.
Just sister,
I don't know if
okay.
it's younger or older, just sister. On what? Okay, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
I was able to find a bike. The problem is that Central's not going that past a certain time. Oh, yeah. I was able to find a bike.
So let me ask you this, Squad. You feel like justice been served? A few names that was thrown around. I'm gonna say, rest in peace to the deceased. Then we got the one guy, uh, the passenger. He already locked up. So I guess they just looking at this as a open and shut case. Man, it was a conspiracy here, wasn't it? So I guess they saying that the Bucks stopped at Big Jook. So Big Jook was the one who put the hit out. So therefore, uh, nobody else. And if Hernandez Govan was allegedly the guy who set the whole play up, and he was transferring money from hand to hand, why didn't he ever come to the stand? Man, this blowing my mind. This blowing my mind for real. All the way from the day of, the way the police pulled up on the parking lot, trampled the crime scene, the way the daughter of the cookie shop was inside the crime scene, the way they was in there mopping the crime scene. Oh man, well, there we have it, man. Guilty, life in prison, life sentence. But again, I'm gonna ask, do y'all feel like justice been served? Uh, cause it was a conspiracy here, and in order to conspire, it got to be more than one person, right? And so we got the trigger dudes, right? They already in jail. One of them we just watched go have trial. Justin Johnson, straight drop. and the other one who came in, Cornelia Smith, who came in and had them in there earlier. I think that was day one, end of day one. Uh, so they already locked up. But who paying the bag? The bag coming from somewhere, right, squad? They said Big Jook put the hit out. Hernandez Govan was allegedly the mastermind. Why didn't we ever hear from Hernandez Govan? All this time he been in and out of court. They've been steady throwing his court dates or his uh showing his court dates, making us feel like, well, if he the mastermind, that's who we about to hear about, right? Now they say court gonna resume Monday. I don't know if they this for sentencing or not, but or whether we finna move on to the next person. Somebody trying to be funny now. But yeah, or we about to move on to the next person. What's really going on here, squad? Uh, like if you dig off into this, all the names that have been coming up, like we heard from a couple of detectives. That detective they show, I ain't even see him nowhere on the scene. I didn't. Maybe he was, the lieutenant. He didn't retire too. We see that one detective. Now, don't get me wrong, they had some damaging evidence against this boy. Now, the outfit he had on for 3 days. I think it was from the 17th to the day of, the 21st, right? 4 days. From the beginning of the trial, I was saying he was being set up because they were just, the first couple of witnesses that came out there, which was the guy that was locked up, the one guy that was riding in the court with him. He was screaming a guy government name like they had went to school together, but they never really knew each other. So supposedly, or should I say allegedly, these two guys just put together to do this hit. Oh man, y'all was tripping from the start. You don't even know this cat you riding with. Of course he finna get in there and rat you out. Cause he don't know you. And he say he ain't getting out of jail. I'm gonna follow up on that, squad. Cause the way he was saying it, as if, they done offer him some type of plea. But we'll see. Nevertheless, I want to ask this question once again. Have we seek justice for Young Dolph? That's not that it ain't never really gonna be no real justice. But with all the name, I'm saying with all the names that was supposed to be involved with this, and again, rest in peace to Big J. That's Yo Gotti's brother. Rest in peace to him. Uh, but we done learn. We've been watching her on this YouTube. Her how they throw the deceased under the bus after he gone. They gone get that case to him. Now they feel like they ain't snitched. on their partner or whatever. We seen that on a couple of issues here. I ain't gonna mention no names, but nevertheless, could this be one of those circumstances? Is that what we dealing with? Because like I say off the top, I was thinking my man who was getting framed because they was pointing the finger at him just like he wasn't even in the room. And, Justin was sitting over there like, damn, I'm sitting right here, man. I'm sitting right here. Y'all talking about me like I ain't even in the room. But man, the evidence, the footage that they had on him at Makita's, but we can't say that was him. He did have that outfit on, an outfit like that, I'm going to say, when he entered his apartment. Like I say, he done had this, according to the footage, he had this outfit on for like 3, 4 days. And he ain't changed until the day of. More damaging evidence they had against my man is they follow him the whole time off the towers on his cell phone, right? Then they got his brother in there. His brother come in there. And his brother come in there and straight rat him out. And this so I can see how the jury will go back there. And again, like I say, if they seen any of this Young Thug trial or heard anything about the Young Thug trial and thought about sitting on that hardwood for almost a year, and with this evidence we got against this young man, it's an open and shut case. But I thought yesterday he said he was at the end of the day he said he was gonna take the stand. Why we ain't never heard from him? Why we ain't never heard my man take the stand? They gonna give him a chance to take the stand now that they done gave him a guilty plea? I mean, guilty verdict? I don't want the stand at that point. You can keep the stand. It don't even make a difference at that point. Like, that's just for an apology or something, huh? Squad, I appreciate y'all rocking with me over here. Like I say, man, once again, I'm gonna throw that question out there. Start a poll. Leave it in the comments. Do you feel like Adolph Young Dolph Thornton Jr. family received justice with the guilty verdict of Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop? Do you feel like we should have heard from those other names that came up in court that's been coming up in this case since day one about the alleged mastermind? Why did we never go down that rabbit hole? Because I'm pretty sure it would have led us to more witnesses, more co-defendants. But again, it was only 2 people there that pulled the trigger. They got their 2 people. Guilty verdict. Appreciate y'all rocking with me over here at Fly High Productions. I am Mr. Follower, and I'm out. Squad up.